Okay, we're doing some Python programming. This is my math website actually, and where these videos are actually located, as you can see here on my YouTube channel. Okay, and in this particular one, I think this is like tutorial number 2. I should probably write that here, but I don't know, maybe I'll do that next time. Alright, so we're bringing up the Python shell. Now in the previous video we went over, we kind of used an example using variables and print statement, and we're going to do something. We're going to do the same thing again this time. Okay, so I'm going to open up recent file, which was this one here, and of course you can see here. Actually, I'm going to erase all that. I did this video a little last night, and I went to go back and compile it, or whatever you want to call it, and the audio wasn't working, so now I got to do it again. We're going to find the average miles driven in 1 week. Find the average miles driven in 1 week. Okay, so on Monday, we'll declare a variable here. Monday, we drove, let's say, 10 miles, and then on Tuesday, we drove 15 miles. Wednesday, we drove, let's say, I don't know, 20 miles. How's that? We drove 20 miles. And then Thorday, that's Thursday. Thor, you know who that is? 15.5, let's say. We did 15.5. And then Friday, we did, I think it was 12.7 miles, drove 12.7 miles. Saturday, we drove, we drove 72. Now kilometers, you could use whatever units you want, right? I think everybody in the world uses metric, and the US uses, still stuck in the English system. However, that's just the regular person. I mean, all the science people use metric. Alright, and we'll say we'll call this sum is equal to, now we're going to sum up all these days. Monday plus Tuesday plus Wednesday plus Thursday plus Friday plus Saturday plus Sunday. We're going to run off the screen here. Alright, hit enter. Okay, so we summed up. Alright, so we're trying to find average. Remember what average is, right? We're going to sum up our data and then divide by the number of data points, which is there's going to be 7, obviously. Okay, and we'll have to declare another variable. We'll just call it AVG there. And so we have the sum divided by 7. The sum divided by 7. Alright, and we'll probably get a float. We're going to get a float. Alright, and now what we're going to do is print, not a capital P, we're going to print this stuff off, okay? And let's see, we're going to go ahead and print the sum first. How's that? So the sum is equal to, now remember there's a couple different ways we can go plus, we can go plus, but we have to do str and turn it into a string. And then because we're concatenating it with a string here, this is a string, so this has to be a string here, and I think that's just what we'll do here. And okay, so we got that, comma. Now we're going to skip a line. I don't know if I showed you this or not. So it's a /n. Okay, that'll be a line break there. And then what we'll do is we'll do the average. the average is going to be equal to, and we'll do the same thing here, str, and this is going to be avg, and then we'll close that. We'll close that up like that. Okay. Alright, well, let's go through and let's go ahead and come up here, click run. Of course, it'll make us save this, and let's see what we got. Okay, notice this is not lined up right here. Let's go back. We want to make it nice and lined up. Let's just put a space right here. How's that? Come back up, hit run. Okay, they're lined up now. Now we'll talk about rounding. You know, we don't want to really use all of this stuff. We'll round this maybe to 1 decimal place or 2 decimal places, and we'll talk about that here in a couple more tutorials, okay, about rounding. So there we go, right? We got the sum, we got the average. Alright, let's say we didn't want to do this. Let's say we wanted to just tab over. I can't remember if I mentioned this in a previous video, so we're not going to break it. We're just going to we're going to tab over. Right, so that tab gave us an extra space right here, because if we don't do that, we've already seen that. Let's see. If we don't do that, let's just take a look at this. Okay, so what happens when we just run this? And you get a space, but I don't know. Doesn't look good. More likely we'll break it like we did earlier. You could always do this, I guess. But this, no matter how far out you space this, it's always going to be just, you know, one space. And we'll demonstrate that real quick. Ooh, an EOL while scanning this literal. What happened? Don't know. Oh. Okay. Seems like I've always put blank spaces there. You could always do this too. You could do tab and then a tab again. We got to put this in quotation marks here, like that. Okay, what? This shouldn't be a green. Figure out what's going on here. Oh my God, wasting time. We'll go back to this. I'll see what happened. Okay, we'll go back to what we were talking about just a minute ago. Let's see what happened there. It gave us a space, but like I said, you could go out as far as you want, and it's not going to go any further out. Well, maybe it did. Okay, well, I must be thinking of something else like JavaScript or something of that nature. Anyway, or you can always do this. Tab, you can also do another tab if you wanted to. You can also do that. I think I've talked enough about that. Well, anyways, you can see here. Okay, so I wanted to really just kind of discuss going back over this again like the first problem. But you notice that, of course, we got more variables and we named them. Right, we named them. Instead of saying x1, x2, x3, x4, and so forth. However, you know, I don't know. This is not really practical, but this is, remember, we're learning this stuff. I'm going to assume you're learning this stuff for the first time. So, anyway. And I think in the next video, what we're going to be doing is actually we're going to be using the input statement, and we're going to be inputting these numbers in instead of just automatically just declaring them here in the program. Alright, so I will see you back let's go back to here. I'll see you back, or